On my way back home, come through. On my way back home. On my way back home, come through.
Hello everyone, my name is Amos for amosmixing.com, and in this tutorial I'm just going to show you how I'm actually using a multiband compressor by FabFilter Pro-MB just to help to accentuate a hi-hat pattern in a stereo loop. So this song is called Love Letter and is produced by my good friend Victor Encarnación, and the artist on this song is Sam Rodriguez. So I'm just going to play a little bit of the section that you've probably already heard in the track preview, just so that you know what I'm going to talk about. And I'm just going to point your attention to this blue waveform right here that is playing the stereo loop. And then I'll just go ahead and break it down.
On my way back home, come through. On my way back home. On my way back home, come through.
Alright, so this loop actually has a couple of elements in it. Let me just isolate it in solo and so that you can hear what's going on. So it has a kind of like a kick groove, a snare groove, and then it also has a hat cicada kind of pattern that's happening. So actually, when I turned in this mix to Sam for comments, one of the things that he pointed out was that he actually wanted more of the cicada head kind of sound to be heard more prominently than what I actually had before. So let me just play you the actual part so that you can actually hear what this how it sounds like in solo. So that's the actual sound that he actually wants it to be louder in volume so that it cuts through the mix. And the reason why he wants that to be heard is so that because that's actually the part that's actually carrying a lot of the movement, being that this is also the final chorus of the song. So he just wants something to be able to drive it home. So let me just play it for you how I had it before I actually did my, my processing. So this was how it actually sounded like. All right, and after what I've done, so you can definitely hear now the head loop, the head section of the loop gets heard more prominently. So what I actually did was I just used EQ. I just find that frequency that was actually causing it, which was around 6K. I boosted it a bit, and then I cut out another frequency that was actually clouding that area. So just a very simple EQ pattern right here. And then, but the main part of this tutorial is actually me wanting to show you how I'm actually using the FabFilter Pro-MB. I'm using it in the expander mode to be able to bring out that head loop in that stereo pattern. So as you can tell that entire loop has kick and snare in it, and all I actually wanted to do was to leave the kick and snare untouched the way that it was actually being mixed, but only just bring up the head section. So there are a few ways they can do it. What I'm showing you here in Pro-MB is just finding that particular frequency, using an expander and just pushing it up when the signal hits the threshold, so that the head loop of that section gets brought up prominent. Let me just play it for you, and then you can see that this thing starts to move when the head is being played. And without it, if I were to take it out, and then if I put it back in, it does change a little bit of the tonal character of it, but I feel that also just helps to also make it more grimy, and then it also helps to bring up the head section. So what I like about using the Pro-MB in the expander mode is that I can go in and zone in on that particular frequency, which is right here. And of course, I can't completely isolate just the heads alone because the snare is also being hit at the same spot. So what I can actually do is just accentuate it, and because it's being produced in such a manner where the head is actually more prominent than the snare, so that's going to be brought out even louder. So what I did was I just go in, just dial a little bit of the threshold, and just call it a day. Really simple. As you can see, one of the reasons why I like using the Pro-MB is because I leave the kick and the snare of the loop untouched, and it's just something that just helps to be able to get the job done faster. And of course, I could have gone in and just use automation, find the section that the head is playing, and then just raise it up a couple of dB. But in this case, I was just trying to experiment. I wanted to get it done quickly so that I can turn in the mix for comments again. And so I just found out that the Pro-MB actually works pretty well. So let me just play it for you in the track, and I'm just gonna bypass the Pro-MB in and out so you can actually hear what it was actually doing before. So here's how it sounds like with the Pro-MB.
Way back home, come through.
Alright, and here's without it.
Way back home, come through.
So you can hear that the head is almost inaudible with the minute I took it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it halfway without it, and I'm just going to pop it in midway through it so that you can hear how this is actually doing in real time. So this is without the Pro-MB.
Way back home, come through. On my way back home.
With it in. So you can hear that the minute I pop it in, you can start to hear the head coming through. It's crispier, and it also just helps to drive the song a little bit more just because of how the pattern is done. So I hope that helps. Just use simple Pro-MB or any kind of multi-band compressor or expander just to help to isolate this particular section of the loop that you want to accentuate, and then use that to taste and be able to blend it in the mix. So I hope this helps you, and until next time, I'll see you again.